Hi, very good day to everyone. Very good evening. I'm Hazir here. Welcome to B-TIC Talks once again. Today's topic is about accreditation of prior learning for career progression. And I'm Hazir. I'm doing this lecture today. I've selected this topic today because most of us, we don't have an idea when we want to grow further using our experience, how could we do that, and how can we fast track this, and how can we save a lot of money as well? Because there are traditional routes to study things. You study your basic school, then you go to your O levels, A levels, and then you go to the bachelor's and master's, then to PhD. That's the traditional route. But today's modern education has allowed people to enter into any point in between these two, schooling, primary school to the PhD level. You can enter into any point, at any point, if you have some prior knowledge, prior qualification, prior learning. Okay, and most of us, we don't know. Otherwise, most of us, we don't know how to establish this learning that we have learned prior to our entry to a qualification. That's why I'm taking this topic. And I have a lot of messages to share here. I'll be sharing those. However, it is inevitably impossible to share everything that I have learned in this. So let me leave some times after these lectures for you. If you have some questions, then I'll be able to answer those. So let's have a look at this. Let me give a definition of prior learning. Prior learning is something that we already know, that we have already learned. Okay, if I ask you what you have learned, if I ask you to take a stock on your knowledge, if I ask you what you know, you have a big list. And when you want to study something, you always know the basics of it, or maybe you know certain things that you're going to study in that course. An example would be, you're going to do a bachelor's degree in marketing. So in that marketing degree, you might have lots of subjects to study. And if you work for a company in a marketing department, you could have done some marketing activities in that organization, and you could have practically, experientially learned certain things already. And the same thing will be taught in the degree program that you are enrolling in now. So you have learned certain things already through your experience. We call it experiential learning. That you're going to learn in this degree when you want to study this course here. Now, the theory is this: you never learn something that you already know. You never learn something that you already know. Example would be this: if you know 1 + 1, you never go to another book to learn 1 + 1 is 2, because you have already learned it. Nobody wants to study the grade 1 again for the next year, because we have already done that. So if you have the knowledge of grade 1, you got to go to the grade 2, not to grade 1 again. Okay, so this is what the prior learning is about. You know something that you have already learned through your experience, in fact, and that can be credited, that can be considered as an entry requirement to enter into another course. Okay, so let me have a brief, have an extended explanation on this. And these prior learning has two different wings. One is the certificated learning, the other one is experiential learning. As I told you before, if you want to enter into a course to study in a university or wherever, they would ask you, what is your previous qualification? Because every course has its entry requirement. When they ask you for your previous qualification, if you have some certificate, it is easy for you to establish, okay, I have done my A levels, let me do this first year of the degree. I have done a degree, I have the certificate here, so let me do the master's degree. That's easy. But the case here is, you have the knowledge, you have the experiential learning, you have learned it with masters in whatever the knowledge you're trying to learn here, but you don't have anything to establish that certificate. You don't have it. You don't have any documentation. That is where you are lacking behind, because you don't have any means to convince the university to give you the entry to that course. Okay, and we learned that today as well. How can we document this? Now look at this. I'm going to establish a few things in here. The importance of experiential learning and the power of experiential learning. And experiential learning is not equal to anything else. It is only equal to experiential learning. Okay, let me tell you this now. There are three key people. They're all from Britain. The first is the current Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. Okay, now if I explain this guy is basically an Indian origin. His parents, they came from one of the African countries in 1960s to the UK. So the parents are migrant people to the UK. First generation is migrant family. And this guy is the first generation to be born in the UK. Okay. Now look at the success, look at the growth rate, look at the speed of this guy. He came in to rule the whole country. There are so many people in the country. They are there generation wise. They have, if you go down the track, down the line, they have so many generations lived in the country before, and they could not do the things, but he has done it. Now, if I ask you, how can you do this the same way he did? If you want to be the Prime Minister of the UK, going from Sri Lanka, going from India, how could you do that? My demand is this: no university can teach you. No politician can teach you. Even big politicians, like famous people like Nelson Mandela, Mr. Nelson Mandela, cannot teach you how to become a Prime Minister of the UK. Mr. Mahatma Gandhi cannot teach you how to become a Prime Minister of the UK. Okay, Mr. Modi cannot teach you how to become a Prime Minister of the UK in the UK, but this guy can teach you how. He knows how to become a Prime Minister, though you are a kid of a migrant parent and from an Indian origin. This is what I'm talking about, experience. He knows, nobody knows. If you take the next guy, Mr. Boris Johnson, he is from a Turkish origin, and he was the ex-prime minister just before him. And you should ask him how to become a prime minister here if you have that Turkish background. And before that, there's another guy to make mention of, Mr. Emmanuel Miliband. This guy is the Labour Party leader in 2010. When the party lost the elections, the previous leader, Mr. Brown, resigned, and he replaced him, and he was the man. And his history is his parents were again migrated from Polish origin, and from a Jewish background, and he came to the UK. So his parents were migrant parents, and he was the first generation to be born in the UK, and he came into this position. If you take these three guys here, the route map of them, whatever they have achieved during this very short period of existence in this country, in that country, it is very, very appreciated success. Now, the question here is the relevance of the story to this particular lecture is, can you learn this success? Can you learn this knowledge as to how to become a Prime Minister of the UK from a different nationality or from a different country or different origin? How to do it? You cannot learn this from any university. Only these kind of guys can teach you. This is the power of experiential learning. They experienced it. Nobody can teach you this. They can only tell you how to do. There is no university to teach you this. Look at this car here. There are companies, they sell cars. There are professional marketers trained from many universities, big universities. An example would be some guy, he was qualified, or he is qualified from Harvard University, and he learned from one of the marketing legends, Philip Kotler. He is the lecturer. If you give him a couple of cars to sell these cars, he will be able to sell it. That's fine. He was trained to sell this. But some days he would come to his boss and say, boss, I couldn't make these sales today. I could not close any deals today because no customers. It's difficult for me to sell. Market is tough. People have no money. Your car is not the right car. Your car doesn't compete with the other cars in the market. It's difficult for me. And let me tell you an example here. Look at this guy. He is a street roadside beggar. He stops cars, or when car stops in signal posts, he go there and ask some money for him. Now, I look at this guy, in my point of view, I look at this guy as a great marketer. What is he marketing? He's marketing his poverty. He's marketing his poverty. Okay, he doesn't have anything to sell. The driver or the passenger in the car, they have to drop something from their pocket. He knows how to open the pocket of someone in the street without giving him things. He doesn't give anything, but he takes the things out. If you take this guy, dress him up, give the car key here. Can you go to the market and sell it? I want the money this evening and sell the car. He will never come back to you with the car key. He will come back to you with the money. He knows how to sell it. Okay. This is where the difference is when we talk about experiential learning. Look at this, another example here. If you take this, I have seen before my eyes in here, I wanted to paint a car and I went to the painter. And the painter wanted to mix the color that fits with the body of the car. So he took a couple of buckets of paints like this, and then he mixed it within a couple of minutes. Okay, this is one experience. The guy, experiential learning. He learned it. He learned how to mix colors to get the color he wanted within 5-10 minutes. And then if you want to mix this, you can use technology. There is a color mixing technology, computers, some machineries, some tubes in it. You mix colors and you mix it together. You put colors and you mix it together and you get the color you wanted. Now, to do this, you need some professional personnel, and then sometimes the computer mess it up. You make mistake. When you spray the color differs very much drastically from the original color of the car, but this guy never make any mistake. Okay, this is what the power of experiential learning. Okay, now another example. Look at this. You have a problem in your car. There's some funny sound in your car. You don't know, but something wrong. That is for sure. And you take this car to an experiential mechanic. When you drive the car inside his garage, he would listen to the noise of the engine. He would say, "Open the bonnet." And you open the bonnet for him. He would close his eyes and touch the part of the car, and he knows exactly where the mistake is. Okay, he would find it. The sound would be enough for him to diagnose the problem inside the engine. That is the experience. Now, to do this, you may have to go to one of the engineering faculties where you complete your bachelor's degree in automobile engineering, or you do master's degree in automobile engineering. And if your car, this engineer's car, doesn't start in the morning, if that denies to start in the morning, he won't be able to solve it in the morning. He would get his dress dirt and he would finally find some parts removed, and he says, that's not where the problem is. And he would fix that, and then he would touch the other part and see, oh, what the hell is this? It's not the problem. Then finally, he would say, let me take the car to my computer. Then you use the computer to diagnose the car problem. Okay, so we can understand now what is happening here. This is what happens. Experiential learning, we ignore this. Okay, people can graduate. They can complete their PhDs. They can complete their bachelors using this experiential learning as well. And we have this much of experience in here, but we don't get use of this. That is where we go wrong, because we lose a lot of money and we lose a lot of time as well. Look at this. This is the British traditional route and level system of studies. And the same thing applies to any country you have, but they may use different level numbers. Okay, usually you do your O levels, and after that you do your A levels, and then you do your bachelor's degree. Your bachelor's degree always have 3 years, year 1, year 2, year 3. And then you have your master's degree and the PhD. PhD is level 8, we call it, and the bachelor's degree is level 6, we call it, and the MBA, master's degree, is level 7 here. Okay. Now, if we want to do this course up to the PhD level in a country like Sri Lanka, traditional educational system, you have to have your A levels to complete your PhD. Because you don't have your A levels, you don't have an access to the degree to do your bachelor's degree in a university. If we don't have a degree, no master's degree, then PhD is a dream. Okay, you can't do this. But the new modern educational system has recognized the entry in between these 2 points, O levels and PhD, anywhere, if you have the experiential learning, if you can establish it. Okay, so if you have worked with some bachelor's degree holders in a business settings, doing business, if you want to study a business course, if you have transferred every knowledge or any knowledge that you could from these bachelor's degree holders while you work with them, you can easily get access to MBA, because when you work with someone at a knowledge level, you would learn easily what they have. So you know what they know now. Now, your next level of studies is the next level of it, not the level that you missed. So you can enter into MBA without any prior certificated qualification, but if you have the knowledge of a bachelor's level student. Okay. And in fact, I tell you, I have a master's degree in business administration, and I don't have any bachelor's degree in business. My bachelor's degree is in law. I don't have any bachelor's degree in business, but I have master's, and I'm teaching for master's level students. Why? Because university gave me the access entry to the master's level because of my prior learning. I have learned something that is required to enter into this course, master's level. In fact, do you know, you can do a PhD straight away, ignoring your O-levels, A-levels, bachelor's and master's. You don't need to have any qualification, but you can still enter into PhD if you have the knowledge of MBA, and you have to establish it. Okay, establishing the knowledge is the challenge, and let's have a look at it. Okay, so that is about entering into course. Now, if you want to enter into a course, there is another benefit inside the course as well. If you take MBA, when you go inside MBA, you may have about 6 or 7 subjects. Here I have listed 6 subjects. So these 6 subjects are there, or modules are there to be completed in your MBA. So when you complete these 6 or 7 subjects, you'll be getting your master's degree, MBA graduate. Now, if you have worked in a financial department of an organization for about 5 years, 6 years, you know every single thing that I'm going to teach you in your financial management subject. So no need to do that subject. This is where we call your prior learning is accredited. It is accepted. It is exempting the requirement of learning this. Okay, you can apply for it, exemption, because you have worked for this financial management, or finance department of an organization for about 3, 4, 5 years, and you know the in and out of this. Sometimes you would feel that the lecturer who teaches finance management may be lacking behind in certain practical areas of finance management when he teaches it. Okay, I experienced it because I teach some master's level marketing, strategic management, things like that. When I do this, there are practitioners of this marketing in organizations. They have the first-hand practical experiential knowledge. At certain times, I let them to do the lectures to give some examples to support my lectures, because I know they know the practical knowledge, which is more powerful than me, so that you have an access, you have an opportunity to enter into this MBA program, exempting certain subjects if you can establish your prior learning knowledge. Okay, so earlier I was talking about you can enter into any level of qualification here. And the second thing I'm mentioning here is about when you want to enter into one specific qualification, in that qualification, you can exempt yourself for certain subjects if you have enough knowledge to establish. Okay, so here, how to establish this experiential learning. Now, the first thing is about challenge by a coursework or an exam. For example, let's say if you are doing MBA and if you have some financial management knowledge, if you know the financial management, what you do, you tell the faculty, tell the university, I have already learned it. I know this subject. I don't want to study this. But what you do, I challenge your exams. Give an exam, give your exam, or give your assignment. I'll do it. So if you do that, if you pass it, your subject is done. So you can establish your prior learning, experiential learning, challenging with an exam or an assignment. That is one option. The other option is about the portfolio development, prior learning portfolio. What is this about? This prior learning portfolio is about the evidences that you have committed, you have done. If you collect them all together, if you establish it in a document to the university, that may be yes. Examples, there are so many documentation that you can make to make your knowledge clear to them, to establish that you have the knowledge. Number one, or one of them, is the job description. Tell the university that these are the jobs I am doing. For example, if you want to exempt your marketing, your HR subject, tell them every single day I go to the office, I work for the HR department, I do these kind of things. So that is what HR is about. This is what you're going to teach there. So why should I learn it? I'm already doing it. What is it? I know how to recruit people. I know how to train people. I know how to bring people, and I know how to do my employer branding to attract new people. I know how to retain people. I know how to manage the grievances of these people. I know how to make this payment to them. I know how to make this compensation to them. I know how to do this annual appraisal of these people. So that is what HR is about. And I'm doing all these things daily. So why should I learn it? Okay, so this is an evidence. If you can bring some evidence to establish that I'm doing this, university would say, okay, you have done it, you can do it, so let's exempt this to you. And if you have some transcripts, if you have some sample works, if you have some testimonials, people, organizations, some big endorsing celebrities, they may give you some testimonials to you that you have done this. That is a proof to establish that you have done it. Some social work, some YouTube video clips, some lecturer recording. If you have written some books, if you have published some articles, if you have published some speeches, if you have done some public speech, these are all evidences that you have some knowledge. Okay, so any area we are talking about, if you can make these kind of things, you can document all of those and you can give it to the university and ask them, look at this, this is the course, this is the subject. In this subject area, I have done all these things in my career in the past, last 5 years, last 10 years, last 2 years. I have been doing this, so I don't want to learn this. Please exempt me. If they exempt you, you save your time. You don't need to study that subject. So your time is saved and you don't need to pay for that subject either. So save your money, save your time. Okay. Right, now this is about portfolio learning, portfolio development, prior learning portfolio. Now, let me tell you one a very important message here. You have your CV that is listing all of your qualifications and all of your experiences, that's fine. But your prior learning portfolio is much extended than this. You have to bring in loads of evidences, loads of documentation. So if you have a plan to do your studies, develop your career in the university for master's, PhD level and above, you have to collect all these documents from now onwards because you would forget it. Now you see, I'm making lectures today here on accreditation of prior learning. This is part of my portfolio. If I want to apply for a university to lecture, I would tell them that prior learning assessment, prior learning accreditation, I know about this. I have done lectures on this. This is an evidence that I have some knowledge on this. So I can easily get a job. And if I want to get a course in education, PhD in education, I can show them that I know about this area of education, prior learning assessment, entering a student into a point where they enter into without some prior formal learning. This is how it works. If I can show this video to them, there is a likely chance that I would get an access to this PhD straight away. So this is an evidence for me. The same thing applies to you. If you have, or if you are doing certain things, collect the evidences of those. If you have developed a course, take the evidence of it. If you make a project, take the evidence of it, document it and keep it. You may collect a big, thick document here. If you can bring all of those, sometimes there's a possibility you can get your MBA straight away without doing any subject. There are possibilities. And it is possible for you, if you have committed some powerful learning and research, you can get your doctorate, PhD, without doing any research, without doing any dissertation straight away. It is possible. Okay, so don't wait until you apply for the course. From today onwards, what you do, collect those documents and file them. So it's easy for you when the time comes in, when you want to apply for a course, you just hand over the document. They'll exempt you for many subjects. It will fast track your time and it will save your pocket. Okay, that's the third way that you can establish your experiential learning. The second way. The third way is about the professional discussion. This is another way that you establish your prior learning to enter into a course or to exempt some subjects in a course. Now, how does that work? Here, when you want to apply for it, you would say, I want to go for a professional discussion with one of your professors to check my knowledge on one of the subjects. If it is human resource management, you apply for it, and the university would arrange a meeting with a professor or a lecturer who is the HR in charge. Then he would have a professional discussion with you, and you would be explaining everything what you are doing in that subject area. And if that lecturer is convinced, yes, this guy knows everything, he would say, okay, I exempt you for your subject. This is again another option. So challenged by a coursework or an exam, prior learning portfolio, or professional discussion, this is the roadmap. Okay, so if you can do this, you can get your course shortcut. You can enter into the course somewhere in between. You can complete your course with less time. You can complete your education in less time. You can complete your course with less money as well. Okay, so I think that is it from me today about this, the basic fundamental shorter message for you. And thank you very much for joining me today in this B-TIC talk. And I would like to see you in another talk later. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.